This podcast contains strong language and adult themes. Listener's discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to A Page Too Far, the show where each week one of us reads a book and tells the other all about it. Will it be bad? Will it be good? Who knows? Let's find out. I have a debilitating heroin addiction, and this is my co-host who has extreme syphilis.
I just want to say for the record, I don't have syphilis.
For the record, that hasn't been tested.
You know what? Fair. It's a fair point.
How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. What the fuck? You have a crippling heroin addiction.
Yes. And you have extreme syphilis.
Where did that come from?
Well, let me explain. So today's book is called Chasing the Dragon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Fist bump.
Yeah. Thanks. See, everything leads into something else. This is a fictional book. It does take place in the United States, but it's not historical fiction. It's just that's where they happen to set it. It was published in 2009 and written by Nicholas Kaufman or Kaufman, depending on how German he is.
Okay.
And it was published by Chizine Publications, Chizine.
What does it mean?
I don't know, but it's very...
Is it a Pokemon?
There's like... No, that's Chaozu.
Oh, yeah. You're right. What's it look like? Here, let me see that.
Here's the title. I'm sorry, the cover.
You actually brought the book.
I brought the book. Imagine that. Figure out what that is.
It's a really cool... so it's a traditional Chinese-looking dragon, very serpent-like with four legs, and it's winding around a needle, hypodermic needle.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now, I will say, when I picked up the book, I saw the dragon, didn't know what it was wrapping around because I didn't look at it enough.
You just read it, the title, and you thought that was good enough.
I read the title and I read the introduction, which is not on the back. It's like on the first page. That's where it is.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it when books do that. They put reviews on the back and the actual like synopsis in the middle, or in the beginning, or at the end sometimes. I read it because this is an adaptation, a continuation of the myth, the folklore, the supposed history of St. George and the Dragon.
I'm not familiar with St. George and the
Okay,
Dragon.
that's a piece of British folklore.
Okay.
Traditionally celebrated around Christmas. Back in the day, there was a dragon who was harassing a village. They were afraid that the dragon was causing sickness.
Okay.
And they sent a lot of people to kill it, and none of them did.
Of course.
I mean, right. This is
There needs to be some stakes in your story.
classic fairy tale.
Yeah.
The dragon either, depending on who you talk to, the dragon either kidnapped a princess or the villagers were going to sacrifice the princess.
Mm-hmm.
And the king hired St. George to kill the dragon and coated his lance with an oil from a flower that supposedly was going to kill the dragon. And St. George kills the dragon, rescues the princess, saves the day. You know, the whole story.
That you really threw me for a loop with that flower oil. I did not expect that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's somewhere that's in it. There's somewhere that's not. It does play into this book a little bit, but I don't know. It's there. It's just a secret poison.
Okay.
Effectively,
I got
is what they're going for. And that's the mythology that this book is then based on. And that's what drew me to it.
Okay.
Because it's fascinating, but it also, the forward introduces it as modern day.
So it's a modern retelling of that?
No.
Okay.
No, that's what I thought it was.
Oh, no, you said continuation.
Yes.
So St. George is still alive hunting things.
Maybe.
We'll
get into that. The book goes into it. It's mended. It's in the very beginning. It's not spoiling anything. It is his descendants.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
They have some type of power in their blood.
Yeah, exactly. They're the chosen ones, and then they have to hunt dragons, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Let's dive on into it. We open on Georgia Quincy.
Okay. Person's name?
Person's name. She is, I don't know that they ever describe her. Female, lean, long brown hair. About it.
Okay.
Looks like she's been through some stuff.
It's a woman.
Yeah. She is pulling into the parking lot of a diner. She has had a vision about this diner showing her a massacre waiting inside.
Okay.
Yep.
So it hasn't happened yet. Supposedly. She thinks
she knows when she goes in, she's going to see a massacre.
Oh, not the leftovers of them. Like, is she going to see dead bodies, or is she going to see
bodies?
People dying?
No. I see what you're saying. Yeah, the massacre implies the act of it happening. No,
gotcha.
The remnants of a massacre.
I gotcha.
Yep, my bad. She has been chasing a dragon, and her vision told her that it had killed again.
Okay, That's very interesting.
Mm-hmm. As she gets out of her car, she sees the carnage. The diner's neon sign has been knocked over. You know, one of the tall roadside signs.
Right.
Been knocked over. Some of the lights flickering on and off, and the parking lot has half a dozen empty cars, seemingly abandoned. The dragon left no survivors. She grabs a shotgun from the back of her seat and moves into the diner.
Okay.
Inside is a scene of absolute carnage, bodies and blood everywhere, eviscerated. She hears a noise in the back room, and a fat fry cook comes walking out.
Okay.
A huge gash across his stomach.
Oh, shit.
Entrails dragging behind him. It says, "I was wondering when you'd come," in a female voice.
Okay. So I'm thinking possible possession.
It was the dragon's voice.
Okay, that's
That's exactly what it was.
He went over that way, down the highway. If you hurry, you can get him.
This cook has gashes on his chest, but his brain is intact. That's the important part.
Mm-hmm.
See, the brain is what's needed. Apparently, the dragon can use corpses to communicate. George's grandfather called them ghouls. She calls them meat puppets.
I like it.
I'm going to call them ghouls because I don't.
Okay.
The amount of times it's mentioned, if it had just been ghouls instead of meat puppets, probably would have cut like maybe a quarter of the book.
Yeah, the rule is if you have a pet name for something that you want to use, it's got to be short.
Yeah.
Like one word.
Yeah.
Meat puppets too much.
And it's the family name. There's no technical term for these.
Right.
This is just what they call them. Why would you not call them ghouls?
Yeah, I mean, ghoul is the closest to technically correct, I guess.
I mean, meat puppet is literal.
True, yeah.
But it's long.
It's long, yeah.
It's 3 syllables. Through their conversation, Georgia and the fry cook / dragon, we find out that the dragon has killed a lot of people who were sent to hunt it over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the same dragon that St. George allegedly killed.
Okay.
We
so
know
it faked its death.
It faked its death, or the other option, it was never killed.
Or it was reborn.
Or it was reincarnated.
Or it's all imaginary and they're fucking crazy.
I mean, so this... That's what I want to get into. The mindset for this, it's called chasing the dragon.
Yeah, so you think it's all delirium.
I'm looking for drugs.
Right, yeah.
The dragon, at one point we find out that she had slashed open a cut on Georgia's side, and the dragon's blood stung her. Or no, I'm sorry, Georgia's blood stung the dragon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so the dragon cut her, and instead of finishing her off, she's in pain and, escapes.
Okay.
And then Georgia lives to...
So there's inherent magic in her blood.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I like that sort of magic, where it's like either an act or a very strong emotion is what creates magic. And that has a lasting impact on objects or your lineage. I really like that sort of thing.
It's very different. It's very different from mainstream, shall we say.
Yeah.
It's very cool. It's good stuff. Georgia is different from other people, though, in that the dragon had eaten ancestors of St. George before. And descendants. Not one of them had this power.
He ate women? Or she the first woman?
She is the first woman. That comes up later.
Okay.
But
I'm getting way too
You're getting ahead of it, but it comes up later, but it's not relevant.
Okay.
It's just stated. I'm spoiling it, but it's fine.
Far, I don't mean to put the book down.
Yeah.
But it seems rather predictable so far.
It is very predictable, and I'm going to tell you this now because we're getting to one of the first ones. 90% of it is told through flashbacks.
Oh, God. I don't like it already. Okay, continue.
So Georgia says, "Why don't you face me yourself and we can finish this like once and for all?"
Right.
The dragon says, "Why would I do that?"
Right.
Yeah.
There's no point.
No, not at all. Which I credit that author.
Yeah.
Because instead of, I don't know. I don't even know. Why? Why would she? Why would she give up her position of power? But a meat puppet ghoul grabs Georgia from behind while she's talking to the fry cook. She's pulled backwards and her shotgun accidentally discharges. So
how?
The scene is very not descriptive.
Oh, great. Okay.
Where she's pulled backwards, she falls, and the shotgun goes off. There is no mention.
I'm guessing she already has her finger over the trigger.
There's no mention of it. There's no mention of if her finger's on the trigger or if it's that stereotype of you drop a gun, it goes off, which isn't really a thing.
It's not a thing unless your gun is already broken.
Right. Right.
I'm going to assume she had it in her hand. Her finger is over the trigger. She falls, squeezes it, goes off.
Potentially.
That's my headcanon.
Yeah.
Because anything else would piss me off.
Yep.
So, yes.
The gun flies out of her hands then.
After it fires.
Yes. So and this is why I tend to think her finger wasn't on the trigger because it discharges and it goes away from her and her finger isn't broken. If it has a trigger guard, which I assume it does.
Well, okay. So I have a bit of experience with shooting.
Sure.
Growing up where I did. And I've seen people who are not experienced fire a gun and immediately drop it It happens, and I've never seen someone's finger break because of it. But I mean, none of them were pulled from behind onto the ground.
Right.
So that's definitely a thing, a gun firing and then you losing your grip and it going somewhere because of the momentum.
Yeah.
Absolutely a thing. But if she is supposed to be some sort of experienced hunter, I'd be very disappointed in her if she did.
Right.
That's a very amateur thing to happen.
And it also, I assume, like in my mind, the way she's holding the gun, because she's the protagonist of a book that I'm envisioning and I'm not thrilled, is that her finger's the whole way through the trigger guard instead of just the tip. You know, like you just press on the trigger. So, I mean, it's perfectly plausible. There is nothing. I am just looking for the worst. And there is no mention of it at all, good or bad.
Okay.
Yep. That one's on me. So the gun flies out of her hands. She fights off the ghouls. She manages to get the gun and kills them. It's an action sequence. It's fine.
Does she have blades?
No, she like pushes away from them and grabs a shotgun and then blows their heads off.
That's fucking lame.
Yeah. Now, after like, because a little bit of time has passed, the diner is starting to sink into the ground.
Okay.
So a sinkhole is forming beneath it.
That's terrifying.
It's absolutely terrifying. But apparently that's something that happens when the dragon attacks.
It just swallows all evidence of what happened.
Exactly.
Okay.
There is no trace. Otherwise, you know, the world would revolt if there was a real dragon.
Right. I
Yeah.
like it.
That part was very interesting. Georgia quickly raids the cash register and puts the money in her wallet next to a picture of her parents, George and Tanya.
Okay.
There's a little bit of speck of dried blood on the picture.
Old blood.
Old blood.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, wait, she took money out of the cash register?
Yeah, she raided the cash register.
That fucking bitch.
Everyone in there's dead.
Well, it's going into a sinkhole, so I guess you might as well salvage what you can.
What are you going to do?
It's all's fair.
So at this point, I'm like, she could have gone into the diner looking for a fix or robbing the place.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? And then just kills everyone, steals the money, and leaves.
That would have been possibly a more interesting story than this is. Like,
Maybe.
I don't know how it shakes out, but that would be interesting if that's how it played out. If she was just, you know, off of her balls high.
Yeah.
And just committing all these crimes because she thinks she's in danger or something. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
And that's where my mind's going, right? Because it's fascinating.
Right.
All of the unknown that we don't know. So she goes back to her car and her stuff had been all thrown around. Like she lives out of her car and her case has been open. Their clothes are scattered. Like, everything.
Did she lock it?
No. She realizes she left the door open.
Oh, okay.
Yep. She is panicking and she starts looking for this one thing.
Her stash.
It's a brown leather case, like a folder kind of wrapped in with
kind
like
of
a brown cord.
like surgeon's tools. Sometimes they put it in leather tool sets. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She thought it was missing, but she finds it underneath the driver's seat and she actually cries over it because she's so relieved. Chapter 2. She drives away from the diner. The diner sinks into the ground behind her and she's overcome with a sense of extreme loneliness. She just wants to find the nearest piece of civilization. So the other thing that we now find out is that this diner's in the middle of the desert, just like in, I think in Arkansas, I believe.
Okay. I know very little about Arkansas.
And I drove through it. That's all I know. It was very flat and maybe some of it was like arid desert. Maybe some of it wasn't. I don't know.
I don't think desert when I think Arkansas.
I don't think anything when I think Arkansas.
I think, for whatever reason, I think hogs when I think Arkansas.
Interesting.
Pigs.
I think of that one vine that says, America explain, how can it be Kansas and Arkansas? What do you mean Arkansas? Yeah, Vine. Bring it back.
It's called TikTok now.
That's not Vine. But she has to see other people. She's getting so lonely. So she drives into, there's a town nearby because there was the diner, right? There were cars and everything. So there's a town nearby.
People living somewhere.
Exactly. And she's driving through and she's just gazing at the town folk and just reminiscing, you know, people walking down the street. We find out that no one else knows of the dragon. That's, you know, it's remained a secret. And that's why her ex Drew left her.
Drew. What a bitch name.
I'm saying, if you're ever going to leave someone named Drew before they leave you. She has a flashback to how she and Drew met.
Okay.
It was college. They connected, quickly established a relationship, moved in together. And then after college, I should say, they moved in together. George's parents died. And she had to take up the hunt for the dragon, right?
Okay. So her parents were already doing that.
Yeah, her father was a dragon slayer.
Right.
And he died, so now it's George's turn.
This is like Harry Osborn finding out his dad was the Green Goblin.
Except she knew already.
Oh, okay.
She knew, but it wasn't her responsibility.
Right.
So she didn't care. Most college kids probably wouldn't.
Did she realize she would have to do it eventually?
She was told, but whether she believed it in the innocence of a kid saying, like, my dad's going to live forever or
Right.
something like that, it was never forefront in her mind.
Okay. So she just gets slapped in the face with the reality that her parents are gone, so now she has to do this.
Her parents are
task.
gone. The dragon killed them. She has to kill the dragon.
Okay.
She tells that to Drew.
What if she fucking killed her parents because she needed the money and they
That's
caught her?
what I'm saying. And then Drew left her because she's obviously a junkie.
Yeah,
That is exactly what I'm saying.
so yeah. What you were thinking is exactly what I would think reading the book.
Yeah,
for the first
and
time.
it's perfectly logical. So she I'm sorry, I said she tells Drew. She doesn't tell Drew, but she did have to take up the hunt. So she's going out, staying long hours. She quit her job. Drew just sees her declining because she's not
Right.
working. She's disappearing. She doesn't tell him why.
Doesn't trust her anymore.
He thinks she's a junkie. That's what it was. It's been a while since I got to this
okay.
part of the book. He thinks she's a junkie. So he leaves her
Okay.
instead of helping her in any way. In any way. The book says, it never says he tries to help at all.
I mean, he is an asshole.
Yes.
You should at least
Have a conversation.
you do something, I guess.
Have a conversation. That's all I'm saying.
I think there are instances where someone's an addict and you just can't help them. But yeah, no, he should have done something.
Yeah, because you don't know that at this point.
Right.
You haven't talked to her.
Right. He probably was just looking for an excuse because he didn't like her anyway.
That's what I'm saying. She continues daydreaming as she's driving, and she finds like a motel on the edge of town, just like a shoddy rundown place. She walks over, and the owner's son is manning the desk. He introduces her. She doesn't just know that. He introduces himself.
Okay.
Yeah. Gives her a room, flirts a little bit. He's like a teenage kid, maybe 17, 18, something like that.
He's into junkies.
Yeah, just, awkward. Apparently she's beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Or he's just a teenage
He's a
kid in a
teenage
town
boy.
that, it's a one-horse town with one traffic light. She goes to her room, she showers, she examines herself in the mirror, and there's a huge scar on her left hip.
Okay.
So this
From
we
the
see
fight.
is the fight. Yeah.
Okay.
It's gray skin, looks awful, like jagged, torn, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That was from the dragon. She goes to get a vending machine dinner. So there's a vending machine outside the hotel. She goes to get some dinner, and she bumps into another guest of the hotel who's going out for a smoke. His name is Marcus Townsend.
Okay. Well, all these names so far have not been that memorable.
Yeah.
I think Marcus is the first one.
You had Drew,
Somewhat
Georgia, George, and Marcus.
George in Georgia.
George,
hate it.
father of Georgia,
Yeah, I hate it.
son of George,
Yeah, because descendants of St. George.
son of George, son of George,
I hate it.
son of George. It's always George.
I'm rooting for Marcus.
Yeah.
He's got a name.
Yeah, he does. Marcus Townsend. He's an African-American from Detroit. He asked if she saw the news. There was a massacre at a diner.
Right. Wait. Whoa, wait.
Uh-huh.
It didn't sink into the ground?
Well, it did, but not fully.
What? What?
Looks like an explosion went off, like a bomb went off.
So the dragon just didn't give a shit this time?
Or there's ways to have a mortal mind justify what's happening. So it's not no trace,
Yeah.
but it looks
Enough
like
to make it look like it's something else that happened.
yes. And there's several theories as to what happened.
Okay.
Some are attributing it to gang violence in the area,
That just sounds like he didn't do anything to the diner. It was just a bunch of dead people. They're like, oh, gang
but
violence.
it looks like a bomb went off. So it looks like an explosive device was detonated in the diner.
Okay.
So they
How do you
think
make it
gangs.
look like? Is he a dragon? I guess he could blow fire around to make it look scorched.
I'm saying I don't know. You are giving me way too much.
I'm sorry, but okay. What I would reading at this point in the book,
Yeah.
at that point, I would be like, this is totally in her fucking head.
Yeah.
Because they found evidence of a bunch of dead people, so obviously it didn't sink into the ground.
Right.
Obviously she did all that.
Right. They think specifically there was a lot of thugs with shotguns
Okay.
because she used a shotgun
Right. There's buckshot
and
and stuff.
machetes to explain the dragon claws.
Okay.
So that's their news theory. Who knows what
Plausible.
actually, what the police think or anything. That's what's on the news. So Georgia and Marcus chit chat. He notices her car. It's an 81 Impala that she inherited from her dad. He comments, "No offense, but I hope he left you more than that bucket of bolts."
That's
When she mentions that she inherited it,
yeah,
which is a terrible thing to
really,
say.
really rude.
Yeah. But apparently he used to work on cars being from Detroit, and 81 Impalas are terrible.
Yeah, but if you're someone who's worked on cars, then you can understand that not everyone can have a really nice car.
You're right. And
a
also,
bad-looking car could also be sweet under the hood.
this book was written in 2009. What does the author have against 81 Impalas?
I don't know.
He establishes it and then calls it out. I don't know. I don't know. It's amazing.
Yeah, like somebody who works on a car would know that you can't judge a car by how it looks on the outside.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
So Georgia then starts itching and sweating. She gets really, really anxious all of a sudden.
okay, she's withdrawn.
And she quickly excuses herself. She realizes she's like, because of this, I'm just really anxious. He's going to think I'm an addict.
Oh, God.
Like, that's what he thinks.
Yeah.
And she books it back to her room. And like,
I better not look guilty. I'll just run away from here as
Yeah,
fast as I can.
exactly. She grabs the other pouch she cried about before. And then, yeah, I was not expecting this, but she does prep and inject heroin.
So she's a junkie.
She is a junkie. She's doing straight up. It's not black tar, it's brown, but straight up heroin.
I don't know the difference between black tar and brown.
Yeah, one's worse than the other. But she shoots up and zones out.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the police arrest her.
No. While high, she starts reminiscing about Zach.
Is this all just going to be flashbacks of her ex-boyfriends?
Just two.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
two boyfriends. Multiple flashbacks.
Okay. All right. Zach.
Yeah, Zach. So she had been chasing the dragon. Literally, though, she'd been trying to find the actual dragon. And she had a breakdown. She was in a bathroom stall crying. She's saying, I can't do this, Dad. Like, her dad's dead. She's just like thinking about him, saying, I can't do this. I can't do it. She comes out of the bathroom and there's a guy standing nearby, like not. And I knew that the way I phrased this, it was going to sound creepy. He just happened to be there. He wasn't
In the
waiting
women's
for her.
bathroom?
No. Outside.
Okay. Gotcha.
Outside. And he just happened to be nearby, and they make eye contact, and she can see hurt in his eyes,
Okay.
and he can see hurt in her eyes.
I mean, she's been crying. Her eyes are red. So
Exactly.
obviously.
No, she's a mess.
Yeah.
They strike up a conversation, start talking, and they end up talking all night, just
Ooh,
about what's going
connection.
on. Towards the end, they're just making out.
God damn it.
Would you want a meaningful relationship?
I mean, like her reason for connecting with him is because she saw pain,
Mhm.
and wounded people seek out wounded people.
Yep.
That's just how it is. So, like, I don't know. I'm not saying like a physical connection would not be plausible. I'm just saying,
They're both dependent on and taking advantage of the other person.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it's totally a thing that would happen. It's just frustrating to me.
Yeah, totally. What if I told you though that Zach says that his parents disowned him, and she says hers are dead.
Okay.
So he considers himself an orphan because
right. He doesn't have anyone to turn to. So.
They must be kindred spirits.
No.
They have to be.
No.
They must be
Why?
because they're both orphans.
Because they both have the same set of circumstances. They must be soulmates.
Yes. So he does the only logical thing there and pulls out a brown leather case and shows her his heroin kit.
God damn it. And she's in pain.
She's in pain.
So
They
he's like,
just make it out.
I can fix you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she gets addicted.
I don't know if it's I can fix you so much as I can take the pain away temporarily.
Right. Yeah.
And he kind of stresses, he's like, this is only temporary,
Yeah.
which is
He's at least self-aware.
kind of
How expensive is heroin?
about $100 a gram.
How much do you shoot up?
A gram will last you a while.
So,
Well, depending, I mean,
relatively
tolerances are.
relatively inexpensive if you're...
I think it depends on the habit.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's do some heroin.
This is a side story, but my Uber ride here totally was a weed dealer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just absolutely knew it by getting in the car. It smelled like weed and everything.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like boxes and bags in the back of the car. I'm like, So he pulls out his heroin kit. She asks him to show her how to shoot up.
Okay.
So he's like, here's what I'm offering you, but it's your choice. And she says, I want you to show me how to do it. Not excusing any behavior at all, because no. If people already suspect she's a junkie, right, because Drew left her because she was a junkie,
Right.
might as well try it.
Okay.
No, that's terrible logic. You shouldn't do that. But she's not exactly in the mental state to
No.
argue that point.
Right, exactly.
Especially not in the state she's in, much less staying up all night talking and making out with some stranger
Yeah.
who's then offering her heroin. He's completely a predator in my mind.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Mm.
But in a way. So they stay together and they end up moving from place to place, dodging hotel bills. So, they'll stay in a hotel and leave in the middle of the night, that kind of
Right.
thing. This is before they have credit cards and IDs on file.
Yeah, I was gonna say because nowadays you have to give them your credit card.
Yeah.
So like it's you can't really do that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. This is a reminiscent of a time that no longer exists.
Right. Unless you swiped someone's credit card every day, like a different person's.
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, nowadays you could just shut off the card.
Yeah.
So like you can't do shit.
They move from place to place with dodging hotel bills. When Zach runs out of heroin, they buy more. They run out of money, so then they resort to selling her jewelry. They sell her jewelry. They run out of money, so she offers to sell her shotgun, which she has.
Okay.
Zach says, no, you're not selling your shotgun. That and your car are the only two things you have left from your dad.
Oh, yeah. Now he cares about her.
Now he cares about her. He cares about her, but they're still addicted to heroin.
I guess.
So he says, let me play Knight in Shining Armor for a while. Let me try and score, and we'll see what happens.
Okay. Does he mean score drugs or score money for drugs?
Either or.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not getting a job. He's just trying to get something.
No. He's trying to get something to get by.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that knight in shining armor, but okay.
No, not at all. But I mean, maybe it's a relative shine.
Spit shine.
Yeah.
On aluminum armor.
Yeah. So Zach disappears and he comes back with more heroin than she'd ever seen.
Okay.
He plays it off, but they start using more and more because they have
That's what happens.
and so they need more.
Mm-hmm.
So they blow through more heroin than she's ever seen very quickly.
Right.
He disappears more often. He never tells her where he's getting it. And she jerks awake.
Okay.
So this is no longer a flashback.
Okay.
The hotel room is dark. The lamps had burned out because apparently if you leave a light on for more than 6 hours, it burns out.
Yeah, what the hell?
Don't know. She hears a clanging coming from the bathroom. And a man in full steel armor as black as night walks out.
What the fuck?
She sees him and she wants to say she's sorry she hasn't killed the dragon yet. It lifts its visor and an infinite black void appears instead of a face.
Is this St. George from hell?
Could be. Looking in the void, she has another vision.
Okay.
So we went from vision of the past to knight in shining armor in current day to another vision.
Okay.
And I'm going to kind of keep laying the track here just so that people don't get confused. Looking in the void, she has visions of all the great dragon slayers of old. Thor with Jormungandr, Siegfried with Fafnir, and it lists like 15 others.
Okay.
Yep. She was 7 when she first heard their names. Her father was reading her a book, and her father was reading a book. She asks what's in it. It is a book containing all the stories of all the dragon slayers, a lineage unbroken for thousands of years, apparently including Thor.
And Dovahkiin.
Each age, the dragon is reincarnated, and it is their job to stop it.
It's just like Link and Ganondorf here.
Very similar, yes.
Yeah.
It's their job to kill it. It is her job, just as it was her father's and his father's before his. For 1,000 years, the Jedi Knights were. She also finds out that she is the first girl dragon slayer, and that the book that he's reading is called the Book of Ascalon.
Okay.
I didn't look it up, and I wanted to, but I didn't have time.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's another thing. I'll follow up on that. He tells her the story of St. George the Dragon Slayer, who legend says saved a princess from being sacrificed by killing the dragon. Apparently there is in part of the mythology, people believe it was a crocodile. So
in Europe?
In England. And that's why people thought it was a dragon, because there are no crocodiles in England.
Yeah, how the hell
but
did
one
a crocodile
got there
get
somehow.
There?
I don't know. It's a theory. I couldn't. It goes back to, there's also like the biblical things about a leviathan being a crocodile and that kind of thing. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't believe that one, but no, there's, in my mind, leviathan is specifically
like a or something.
No, it's specifically the creature from Atlantis, the animated Disney movie, because that's where I first heard the word. So it's that giant lobster thing.
Yes, it's a giant robot lobster.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. So her father tells her the story of St. George the Dragon Slayer, who legend says saved the princess from being sacrificed by killing the dragon, only he didn't. He failed, and that dragon is still walking and haunting the earth. They hint, but it's unconfirmed right now, that the princess was actually the dragon. Georgia phases back to reality. She sees the knight standing there, and she says, "Why did you leave me, Dad?" So the knight is apparently her father.
What? Why?
She's saying to the knight, "Why did you leave me?"
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I got. The knight represents her lineage, I guess.
It's a very much an Avatar thing.
Kind of,
you go
yeah.
into the Avatar state, you see all of the avatars.
Yeah, or episode 9 of Star Wars when Rey gets all of the Jedi.
Don't remind me of
There's only one reason I did it, and it's because of that reaction.
hell.
So she has another flashback to her 13th birthday.
Okay.
This is their third trip this session. Her father says she's old enough and gives her the Book of Ascalon as a gift.
Mazel tov.
Her mother flips her lid.
I mean, understandable.
Exactly. She reads the book. She finds out that wherever the dragon goes, entropy follows. Everything turns to dust.
Right.
Only apparently it doesn't sometimes, because the diner lived.
Also, entropy is just a natural
It's decay.
law. So, like,
Yeah. Everything tends towards entropy. That's chaos theory.
yeah. So it's not like he's evil for just entropy. I mean,
But the dragon
does
is
murder
spreading that
people.
entropy,
I guess.
concentrating it.
But I don't know. You got to word it differently. Like, he murders people. Say it that way. If you just say,
Well, he murders people and they turn to dust.
yeah,
Except for when they don't, which so far they haven't.
but saying he like creates more entropy is like such a softball way to pitch that.
Look, this book's 133 pages. What do you want?
I don't know.
You want a cohesive story?
I was interested, and now I'm losing interest. Help me here.
How do you think I felt? I felt betrayed.
Yeah, feels like, God damn it. Right, the moment she actually started taking heroin
Yeah.
from the dude is where it's
Yeah.
not as interesting now.
I was like, oh, maybe she's a junkie. Maybe that's the whole thing. This whole thing's in her head. Yet,
Yeah.
oh no, she's actually shooting heroin.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
But all the
okay.
other stuff is also real. So,
They have it both ways. They want their cake and they eat it too.
fuck off.
Yeah. So she reads the true story of St. George. The illness that people were sacrificing to escape was actually a plague of the living dead. The dragon was creating meat puppets or ghouls.
Okay.
St. George was gifted a lance coated with an oil made of an unidentified flower that was the only thing the dragon wouldn't devour. St. George died in the battle.
Right.
He did not slay the dragon.
Oh, so the story says he survived.
Story says he survived. The real story is that he didn't.
Okay. Why does the fake story exist? If he died,
I don't know.
then like why? Okay.
That's never explained.
Okay.
Yeah. The public doesn't know about the dragon. The urban legend, the myth is that he killed the dragon and rescued the princess, whose name is Sabra, by the way. That's not in here, but Sabra's the king's daughter.
Okay.
She also makes great hummus.
So, okay. So I'm a little confused because you perpetuate a story.
Yes.
Because either it's an amazing thing someone did and you want other people to know that to encourage them, inspire them, whatever.
Yeah.
But if someone is fighting something that people aren't aware of and then fails.
Well, they were aware, right? They hired him to kill the dragon.
Oh, okay. I thought you said they weren't. Okay. So they
aren't now. They were then.
But so he fails.
Yes.
But the dragon isn't bothering them anymore. So they think he succeeded?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I guess
it's never entirely explained,
yeah.
but I mean that makes sense. Or maybe the dragon was wounded and fled and then stopped bothering, that kind of thing.
I feel like we're writing the book for the author.
We absolutely are. But again, 133 pages. It's not
Right.
explained because it's not relevant to the immediate plot of this girl passed out in a motel shooting up heroin.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, how far in the book is this?
Maybe a third.
Okay, that's what I
Whereabouts.
thought.
Maybe
That's
a little
what I
less. Maybe a quarter to a third. The flashbacks go into a lot of detail that just doesn't need to be there. So in the books are 7 warnings about the dragon. The book spells them out, and interestingly enough, they are the names of the chapters, which I haven't gone
sweet.
over for that reason.
I love it.
Chapter 1, she speaks through the dead. We saw that with the fry cook.
Okay.
Chapter 2, she takes everything you love. Chapter 2 was about her life being torn apart and finding her heroin addiction.
Okay.
Chapter 3, she breathes pestilence. That's the chapter we're on now.
Okay, you say she. These are supposed to describe the dragon?
The dragon is a she.
Oh,
It's
that's
a
right, because you
female
said
voice.
female voice. Okay. But so I guess the author's trying to create a parallel between the dragon and Georgia? What's her name?
It was Georgia, and maybe? I don't know. I
Her
don't.
name was Georgia?
Yeah, no, her name is Georgia,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't know if she's trying to create a parallel or not, or if it just happened to be.
Okay, yeah. Because yeah, if you're referring to the dragon as she,
Yeah.
that also, at the same time, you could be like, oh, she meaning Georgia.
Oh yeah, no, and honestly, the book is very clear about their individuals.
Right.
Any confusion about that is in my retelling.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they are not the same person.
Right.
Once you get past that investigation in the diner,
Yeah.
it is very clear.
Okay. Well, I figured they were separate. I was just saying the author is saying, oh, they're not so different. That sort of thing.
No,
No.
that's just my interpretation of things. And
You and
how
me
they're
aren't
relating.
so different, Spider-Man.
So chapter 4, and it lists all these in the book, which is the only reason why I'm reading them out in order.
Right.
So you know what's coming up, which is what I had to do. So she hides in plain sight. She is ruled by her appetite. The earth crumbles where she treads, except when it doesn't. She will devour the world.
Okay.
That's the last
I
one.
mean, she fucked up a diner. It's a far cry from
Yeah.
consuming the world, but okay.
Well, I mean, we're a far cry from chapter 7.
You know what they say about doubling things?
What's that?
I mean, if you just keep doubling a number
Mhm.
within like 10 to 20 doubles, you've like passed world population or whatever.
Yeah.
So if something's power keeps doubling in no time at all, I guess.
Where did doubling come into any of this?
Well, because I was saying you just wiped out a diner and that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's say it does something twice as bad, and then something twice as bad as that.
I see.
It's what's it called?
Exponential?
Exponential growth. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So maybe the dragon has exponential growth. It'll just keep getting worse and worse.
It could be. We'll find out.
What has the dragon been doing all this time?
We'll find that out.
Okay.
So. Now, remember, she does have a history with Georgia. They fought in the past and everything. So,
Okay.
and Georgia seems to be a traveler. So,
Okay.
you know, bit of going places, doing things. Georgia is now awake and she thinks about the gash on her hip. It spreads.
Oh.
And apparently only heroin stops it from spreading. So she injects heroin straight into the scar
Right.
and it recedes.
That's okay.
We find out through another flashback of her father chasing her with the broom, trying to hit her, saying, "This is the dragon's claw. Don't let it touch you."
Someone call child services right away.
I'm freaking saying. She's I think she said she's in middle school at this point.
Okay.
So she's not a little girl.
Right. She's not little.
But like 13, 14, maybe
Yeah.
middle school, early high school. If it touches you, she will infect you, is what
Okay.
it was what her dad says.
Okay.
So that's what she's dealing with on her hip, the infection. That will kill you, and she can then control you when you're dead.
Right. Mhm.
So if she touches you, she'll hurt you. If she hurts you, she'll infect you. If she infects you, she'll kill you. If she kills you, she'll control you.
Right.
Don't let her touch you, is the first step.
Whoops.
She thinks it's a bit of a game. She's 13.
Right.
He smacks her in the back with the broom, not back of the head, just the back, which I
Okay.
thought it was the back of the head. Smacks her in the back of the broom and says, "This isn't even close to a game. You're dead. If you get cut, you're dead." Now she wakes up and the knight, instead of having a void face, looks like her dad. It has her dad's face now.
Okay. Is she sober now?
Maybe coming off of it.
Okay.
Yeah. It bends over to her face and says she's killing again,
The dragon.
the dragon.
Okay.
And she has a vision of somewhere nearby. She doesn't know where, but she sees the name of the town that she's in, which is Buckshot Hill.
Okay.
She also sees the word Inkheads, Inkheadz.
Okay. Tattoo parlor.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Something
Okay.
along those lines. Chapter 4. So we are over the halfway point. Woo! Almost. Georgia wakes up crashing down from the high. In her sleep, she knocked the baggie of heroin off the bed and it spilled on the floor.
Oh no! Lick it up.
She does the only logical thing and picks up what she can with a tissue, but it's not enough to shoot, so she just snorts it, hair, dust, and all.
Oh, Jesus.
She said it's the only time she's ever snorted heroin, but she needed something.
Yeah.
It left her feeling worse because
Ugh.
it was not enough to ease her high, but it left her wanting more. So she feels
Okay.
worse after she snorts it. Apparently, if you just straight up inject it, that's better. Don't do drugs, people. Please don't. She leaves her room, she heads outside, and a disgusting looking fat guy comes out of the motel and walks over to her. He
Okay.
introduces himself as the owner, Roy,
Owner of what? Motel?
the motel,
Okay.
and says, "Hey, can I get you anything?" She says, "No." And he says, "Oh, yeah, because you look like you need a fix.
Okay.
I can hook you up if you give me some ass."
Oh my God.
She gets in her car and backs out as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I-
Okay.
I don't blame her. Now, she does know, though, because of what he said, that there's hard stuff in town.
Right.
So he can get it from somewhere. So she just has to look for it. She drives around for a while without seeing anything until she gets to the warehouse district. There she sees a hobo, hands some change to a kid outside a warehouse door. The kid dips inside and comes out, shakes the hobo's hand. She knows that's a handoff.
Right. Okay.
Very obvious. She walks up after the hobo leaves, and the kid looks nervous, but he doesn't bolt. She asks if she can score, and the kid says, "What do you want?" She says, "Horse," which I thought was ketamine, but apparently it's just I'm overthinking it. Because you cut ketamine with heroin
Sometimes.
sometimes, yeah. And I thought she wanted strong stuff.
Right.
But no, it's just because it starts with an H.
That. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. God damn it.
Yeah, that's it. Just because it starts with an H. The kid introduces himself as Egg Foo.
Okay.
His name is Egg Foo. And
Sure, I've eaten egg foo.
sounds delicious. And he says that'll be $200 a gram, which is
Ooh.
double what she normally pays.
Yeah.
Which is why I said it was 100. I don't actually know how much heroin costs. I'm basing my knowledge off this book.
Oh no, we can't do that.
How am I supposed to know how much a gram of heroin costs?
I don't know. I mean, 100 sounds reasonable.
Sure.
It can't be that hard to make.
I don't know that.
It can't be.
I don't know.
It can't be.
I have no idea how you process it. And I know it comes from poppies. He says that so this is Egg Fu talking. He says he's part of the Shaolin Tong.
Okay.
The Shaolin Tong. The only gang around, which
That defeats the purpose of having a gang, right?
used to not be the case.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they're now the only gang around.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
By the way, the Tongs are a real gang.
Oh.
Yeah.
These are the Shaolin Tongs.
Nice. I think the Tongs started in California when there was a great Chinese migration
Makes sense.
back in the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And people hated them, so then they had to form their own.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%. So since they're the only gang in town, they can charge whatever they want.
Right.
She forks over the cash. The kid disappears into the warehouse, excuse me. And a few minutes later, a very large woman steps out and asks if Georgia's there to kill them.
Okay.
Well, they're the only gang in town now. That wasn't the case yesterday.
Oh, shit.
Mhm.
Okay.
So Georgia says no, and the woman says, okay, we can be friends. Come on in. So both the woman and Egg Fu are white,
Okay.
and they have Chinese characters tattooed on the wrist.
Okay.
I don't know if this matters at this point, but the book does specifically mention it. So the woman takes Georgia through the warehouse, and it is absolutely trash. There's pizza boxes everywhere, empty booze bottles, the whole thing. There are posters of all kinds of Chinese movies on the walls, including but not limited to Enter the Dragon
Okay.
and a lot of other Bruce Lee films. The woman leads Georgia into a room and starts talking about a gang that used to rival the Tong called the Inkheads.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh. The name appeared in the vision that Georgia had last night. The woman says the hobo came to them, the one who came previously, came to them to buy smack because the Inkheads were all dead.
Okay.
So he needs a fix. Inkheads are dead. Got to go to their competition. The woman keeps talking. Georgia tries to press the woman for more information, but the woman just keeps going. She just keeps talking, eventually kind of talking about nothing. But she does offer Georgia all kinds of drugs, but mostly crack.
Okay.
And she has like a very clear crack pipe on her desk, and she just talks about how much she loves crack. Yep.
It's like a Dave Chappelle sketch.
Kind of, yeah. So the need of George's addiction and the senseless conversation combined with the hypnotic patterns of fish swimming in a nearby fish tank throw her into a hallucination, which is what I'm calling them from now on.
Okay.
She's huddled in an alley. Zach is out scoring and they're supposed to meet somewhere shortly. She's dozing off and daydreaming when all of a sudden she hears a growl. I've found you. It was a ghoul.
Oh.
It held her against the wall, and then she felt the actual dragon raking its claws across her back. Not enough to hurt, but enough so she knows it's there.
Right.
Yep. It claws at her saying that she couldn't believe that she fell. So the dragon's saying that I can't believe I fell for your ruse to Georgia.
Okay.
That the distraction worked briefly, but it worked. Georgia says, I have no idea what you're talking about. And can't you just leave me alone? I'll stop hunting you. Just leave.
Okay.
The dragon says, nah, this is where you die. And it claws her side and Georgia passes out. When she comes to, she sees she's alone, but she's alive, which is she wasn't expecting.
Right.
She staggers back to the abandoned shack and finds Zach's body. That's what the dragon meant. Zach was the distraction. The dragon thought that Zach was a plant, that she was using Zach to try and get away.
Okay.
So the dragon killed Zach, thinking it was her. That's all the further explanation we get.
How do you mistake Zach for Georgia?
Couldn't tell you.
I don't get that interaction at all. Let's move on.
Nope. But he wasn't a distraction. He was
Right.
just her boyfriend.
Right.
So she finds the heroin that he scored because he's back in the shack where they were supposed to meet. So she
Right.
knows he has it. So she finds it and she decides to shoot one last time before the dragon's infection kills her.
Okay.
She shoots directly into the infection, just hoping to numb the pain, and passes out again, hoping to never wake up. She does wake up. When she looks at her wound, it's completely healed. She buries Zach in a shallow grave. I think the dragon should have possessed Zach. That would have been
Oh yeah, that
more
would've been
dramatic.
a nice twist.
But,
also, I'm confused because you said there was a ghoul pinned her against the wall,
Yeah,
and then she felt the dragon. Is the dragon inside them?
not explained.
Okay, so I'm thinking of the dragon as this ethereal being that
Yeah,
can
that's kind of
interact
jumping
with
from body to
matter.
body.
Either that, or it's just like invisible, and it's next to the ghoul.
It has a physical form later in the book.
Okay.
It has its own physical form. But it can take the consciousness of a ghoul. I don't know if it can also then transform into itself in the ghoul. That's not really. We're looking at this book from the perspective of a junkie,
right.
and the perspective of a junkie years later.
Yeah, so it's unreliable.
So, yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's not a lot of that kind of description,
Okay.
which it took me until this chapter really to realize. She buries Zach in a shallow grave, and as time passes, she sees the gray skin of the infection coming back. She shoots up again, and it goes away. Heroin keeps the infection at bay somehow.
Okay.
Georgia's jerked back to reality by the shouting of Egg Fu. So she's standing in the middle of this woman's office, and Egg Fu starts shouting at her, "What are you doing in here? No one comes in here. Why did you bring her in here?" He's shouting to the girl, to the woman who's next to
Right. Okay.
her. He grabs Georgia and leads her out and shoves the gram of heroin in her hand and closes the door behind him. Georgia starts looking around for the Inkhead's hideout later. So she takes care of her need and starts driving around looking for the Inkhead's hideout.
Right.
Because in her vision, she had glimpses of a couple of things in the town. So she kind of uses them to cross-reference.
Landmarks and stuff.
Exactly. So she finds it broken into and there's blood everywhere. The floor is covered in an ocean of red, but there's no bodies.
Oh, so those ghouls are out in the town now.
As she gets further in, a door bursts open and a horde of ghouls rushes out.
Oh, they're just waiting in a room.
They're trying to ambush her.
Also, I just made the connection that, like you said, heroin is partly made from poppy seed plants.
Yeah.
And it's a flower.
Yep.
So that's the flower oil that the dragon is weak to or whatever.
Man, this book is predictable.
Yeah, and that's so okay. When you said this is not even a joke.
No.
When you first said oil from a flower,
Uh-huh.
I thought of poppy plants.
Sure.
But we weren't even into the drug shit yet.
Right. It was still in our minds.
Yeah, so I didn't give much thought to it because I'm like
Poppies are a mythological plant.
Yeah,
Poppies will put them to sleep.
milk of the poppy.
As she gets further in, the door bursts open, the horde of ghouls rushes out. She realizes that she only has 3 shotgun shells. She never reloaded from the diner fight.
Dumb bitch.
That's what she tells herself. She left the box of shells back at the hotel in her haste to escape Roy.
Okay.
Sloppy.
Some hunter she is.
She hears her father's voice. "She will kill you, Georgia. She'll kill you." Chapter 5. She's ruled by her appetite. The ghouls march closer and one jumps to grab her. She shoots it in the head, but the others reach for the guns in their belts. I think at this point, it's counting down. She has 3 shells.
Okay.
They were gang members, right? So they all have guns.
Right.
You know,
Guns,
that kind of
knives,
thing.
that sort of thing.
So she tries to run for the exit, but they shoot in front of her to stop her. She realizes the dragon's like toying with her.
Okay.
So she's trying to run for the exit and they shoot it like a wall of bullets in front of her so she can't leave. They want to have fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead of just shooting her, she dives behind an upturned metal table and they shoot the table and it like dents the metal, but none of the bullets penetrate yet. But she realizes if she stays there, they soon will. This is an action sequence that I absolutely hated reading.
Yeah. Okay. So, that tabletop is either solid steel
Yeah.
or like plate iron.
Yep.
That's the only explanation.
I'm going to say probably steel.
Why is there a solid steel table?
I mean, it's a gang place. Maybe they're cutting drugs on it. I don't know.
Maybe they planned to tip the table over
Oh, no.
to cover the bullets or something. Okay.
It was the gang's like interior self-defense.
Yeah, that's my headcanon.
That's it.
Is this hideout is built for that sort of thing?
Exactly. So now there's an action sequence where the dragon is toying with her. It was fine. It read at a good pace. It was kind of boring. There's a whole, I don't know if I talk about it later. There's a whole section where she like John woos it and gets 2 guns and like starts
Oh, yeah, okay.
shooting everything.
Okay.
That's a whole thing. There's no doves though. She says, "Why are you toying with me?" And the dragon says, "I played games with your father and he tasted good, but your mother tasted like tears," which is a great burn.
I mean, tears are salty.
yeah, but
also-
the dragon says that's delicious.
Oh, that's a positive.
It's a
for the
positive.
dragon.
She's like, "I played games with your father and it was amazing. Your mother tasted like tears, which was better."
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. She has another hallucination.
Okay.
She walks past the police barricade of her parents' house. There's blood everywhere. A detective leads her in, and her parents are absolutely shredded. The detective heavily questions her because she doesn't seem surprised at the carnage
Okay.
because she knew it was a dragon and everything.
Okay, I got you.
So the
I gotcha.
detective's questioning her because she doesn't seem surprised. So
Right. Something.
you're not surprised to see this. What are you hiding? This is horrifying.
Ouija board.
Exactly. So she can't tell him though
Right.
because she can't. She calls Drew and she says that her parents were killed by a robber. This is when they're still together.
Robbers don't shred people.
She has to lie. She digs through the room, finds an old photo of her parents, takes that. There's a speck of dried blood on it.
Right.
And she looks everywhere, but the Book of Ascalon is gone.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's an important book.
So she thinks, she poses to the police that a robber broke in and her parents, it's not her idea. If she says she has no idea what happened, the police say that a robber broke in and her parents surprised the robber, so he killed them brutally. That's the only theory that they have.
Okay.
Because their theory is her.
Right.
But she cuts back to reality again. She's surrounded by ghouls. They fight and she ends up slouched. So this is where she does the double gun thing. But she ends up slouched against a wall, stunned. The dragon parts the ghouls and comes to her saying, "I can feel you when you dream, like you can feel when I kill."
Okay. So it's very much a Harry Voldemort thing.
Kind of, yeah. And the dragon says, "What gives you that release? Show me before you die." Georgia pulls out the heroin kit from her bag, shows the dragon the needle. It flips. It's like, that's not meat. That's not blood. What do you mean that gives you that kind of release? She stabs the needle in the dragon's foot. The dragon screams and runs away.
Oh, ow, 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 oh, no, ow, ow, oh. It's like the lady with the grapes.
Kind of, yeah. She thinks to herself, that's weird, but at least she heard it before she dies. And then she passes out,
Okay.
which is like the third time that she's going to die and passes out.
Yeah.
This is a recurring thing that's making me very, very, very
I don't feel afraid
observant
for her,
when it
though.
happens.
Yeah, I don't feel afraid
No.
for her ever.
No, so chapter 6, the earth crumbles where she treads. Georgia wakes up, surprise, and sees the image of her dad standing over her.
Again.
He says she needs to get up. She needs to get up. And she says, I can't. She has another hallucination. She's now 5, and she's throwing a tantrum, getting back at her dad the only way she knew how, by not getting out of bed. Her dad's saying she needs to get up. She needs to get up. She says, I can't. I'm not going to. Her dad says she needs to get up. And now she realizes she's a grown-ass woman. She can't throw a tantrum anymore like when she was 5.
Okay.
Character development. That was established and then resolved in 2 pages.
Yeah. That's the only thing, Jesus.
Yep. So she wakes up and she starts moving. The dragon took the leather case when it left
With the heroin.
with the heroin, but she's in the gang's hideout, so she starts looking for more. It's like these are the Indian kids. They were at the competition.
There's people in town dealing. This
Yep.
gang members got to have it.
So she sees a trench that the dragon dug, looking for something, but there's no drugs in the trench. She thinks the gang was maybe trying to hide it, but it was clawed and stuff. So maybe they hid something and the dragon was digging it up. She doesn't know. But the building starts falling apart and she has to run before it disintegrates.
Okay.
This one does collapse and mostly disintegrate. Not into the earth, not into a sinkhole like that, but the building itself starts disintegrating.
Okay.
On her way back through town, she sees a ton of smoke, and there's a jump scare where a form comes at her out of the smoke, but it's only just an officer on a horse, like a cavalry officer,
Okay.
which, I mean, I guess you would have in the plains of Arkansas.
Sure. I mean, yeah, a rural
Yeah.
area, police force might have horses.
Yeah, but the police are busy because she realizes there's a house on fire slightly down the road.
Okay.
So that's where the smoke's all coming from. One of the officers catches a glimpse of her, but there's a house on fire. She goes back to the motel, she showers, and she crashes. She wakes up in the middle of the night to a loud banging on her door. The dragon in human form walks in.
What?
It mentioned green robes, brown cloak. Very Jedi-like.
I'm so confused about this dragon's abilities.
Think Dungeons and Dragons, Dragonborn, half lizard person.
Okay.
Humanoid form, lizard claws, that kind of thing.
Okay.
That's the image that I had. A horde of ghouls breaks through the windows.
After the dragon walks in.
The dragon walks in, the ghouls break through the window.
Okay. They couldn't just walk in through the door with the dragon?
She wanted to be intimidating.
I mean, never mind.
Dragon's standing in the doorway. Like, what are you going to do? Your only escape route is ghouls.
I guess you could just have him standing outside.
I mean, that would have been the smart thing, but the dragon's toying with her,
I guess.
right? Because dragon's a dragon. It's very prideful. It wants to have the last laugh, yada, yada. I don't know.
Nobody's motivations make sense to me in
The
this
dragon's
book.
trying to save face because she ran away like a bitch.
Then fucking kill her. She was the only witness to you acting like a bitch.
I'm saying. So the dragon is attacking her with everyone that she's met so far.
And she just woke up after a crash?
She crashed. She was asleep. It was evening when she went to bed. It's midnight now. So it's been like maybe 5-6 hours.
Okay. And the edge is off from the heroin.
The edge is off from the heroin. Yes.
That's a very bad spot to be.
Yes. So the dragon has control of Roy, the hotel guy, the fat woman from the warehouse, Egg Foo, Marcus Townsend,
Right.
Marcus's son, who she assumes it's his son because he's black, but also because there's a one line in there about Marcus saying that he brought his son in for a convention,
Okay.
but she never actually saw the son.
So all these people are dead now.
They're ghouls now.
They're ghouls, yeah.
They're like
Okay.
their stomachs are torn open and
Right.
the whole thing. She starts shooting, but she quickly runs out of shells and they mob her. She hears a car pull up out front and she gets a glimpse of one of the officers that she passed on her way here. So clearly he noticed her and she was like beaten and bloody
Right. Not looking so hot.
now that the house is under control of the officers here. But it's obvious that they don't know what's going on. So they fire a few warning shots as the ghouls turn towards them. And then 2 other ghouls, which I know one of them's Roy, one of the other ones is just nameless, hold Georgia down. The dragon is now thinking it's time for an appetizer. She turns to the officers who start shooting into the crowd, but one of the officers quickly goes down. They don't have the foresight to see a mob running at them and back up. They're the most incompetent police officers I've ever read. The second one reaches for a radio, but he's pulled away from the car, like the car radio, but he's pulled away before he can call for help.
Okay.
He does manage to fight his way to the gas tank, opens it, sticks his gun in, and shoots in the gas tank.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Yep.
Just hold up.
Yep.
Hold on a second.
Go on.
So he was trying to get the radio?
He was trying to get the radio in the front.
And
They're outside the car.
And he didn't have time.
He was pulled away.
So something's got a hold of him.
The ghouls are dragging him. They're attacking him, clawing at him.
But he was able to open the gas
He
tank.
fights his way to the gas tank.
Why couldn't he fight his way to the radio?
Because that would have been a better book. But this is an action book at this heart.
And he shoots into the gas tank.
He shoots, he sticks his gun into the tank and fires.
It wouldn't.
The only logical thing, and logicals in quotation marks, that I could think is that the author was thinking that would, the flash and the spark from the gun would ignite the fumes.
No. No. If you shot a blank, maybe, because blanks usually have more fire.
Yeah.
But no. I don't think so. I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Unless the tank was like almost empty.
And there's a lot of fumes.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, sure.
But if it's like half full or more, there's not enough fumage, I don't think.
So the explosion rocks the whole area.
Okay. Kills the police officer, too.
Yes. Georgia manages to get up and she grabs the shotgun and she swings it club style at the dragon because it's empty now. So she had reloaded it. She fired all her shots. There's a lot of ghouls. This is like a town's worth of ghouls.
Why does she not have something other than a shotgun?
It's her dad's shotgun.
So, but for situations like this,
She's not highly functioning.
she's not functioning like at all.
She's completely cracked out on heroin, except for right now
Yeah. So
and for most of the book.
So fuck her. She's a terrible protagonist.
Yes. Yes is the answer to that statement.
Just wanted her to die.
So she clubs the dragon and it like rears back and she'd broken like a tooth out.
What? The dragon's
hit
that fragile?
She hit the dragon in the face with a shotgun. Like as hard as she could. She broke a tooth.
Okay.
So she swings again and the dragon takes its claws and just like claws the shotgun in half. It can rend through metal apparently.
But
We've never seen that before and it doesn't come up again.
It can rend through metal, but you
Yes.
hit it with a shotgun and you knock a tooth out.
Yes. Look, it was a cracked tooth. It's an old dragon. Might have been an implant.
It's a very inconsistent durability here.
Yes. So the dragon starts monologuing now because she doesn't have a weapon.
Awesome, because he's a cartoon. She's a I don't know why I keep saying he, but she's a cartoon.
She remembers who she is. She learned her purpose not to die by George the Dragon Slayer, but to enslave the earth. She is reincarnated when she is killed. All the dragons before her had a goal. She had a goal.
So St. George didn't fail. It was just reincarnated.
No, he did fail.
So
the story so far is that the purpose of the dragons is to die by the Dragon Slayers. Dragon Slayers kill the dragons.
Okay.
She realized her purpose was to live. This is the enemy's words to the protagonist. There is no foundation for anything except for what each of them believes.
Who says, like, I've realized my purpose is to not die? Even if your quote-unquote purpose is to die, you're not going to believe that.
She's read the Book of Ascalon, so she knows what Georgia believes.
Right.
So she knows Georgia believes that the dragon's purpose is to die. She's saying, no, that's wrong. My purpose is to live.
But everyone would say that.
Yes.
Everyone would say my purpose is not to die by your hand. You're a freak or a fanatic.
But she's sharing her revelation with Georgia. That's the important key here.
I want to take over the earth.
No.
Well,
yes, but no.
Okay.
Not herself. She is the reincarnation of Tiamat.
Wow. Why?
This comes up on page 125 out of 133.
Yeah, why? Why is this all of a sudden Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, Tiamat's a real deity.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, she's ancient Babylonian.
I didn't know that. Okay,
yeah.
So
Most of D&D gods and that mythos are taken from real life aspirations. Yeah. So Tiamat, and I did more research into Tiamat because my first thought was Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm like, no,
Right.
That's obviously not what it is. So Tiamat is she has the bones of the earth. She is chaos incarnate.
Okay.
She was slain and her bones were scattered all around the world.
Okay.
That's what this dragon was looking for. That's why she dug in the warehouse.
Bones.
One of Tiamat's bones was buried beneath that warehouse.
Okay.
So at this point, all the bones start floating around and they form a skeleton and a shape, and it is the shape of an actual dragon, like a real
Right. Okay.
dragon.
Full blown.
Full-blown dragon. But yeah, Tiamat historically is, depending on which belief system, either the goddess of chaos or the goddess of the sea, or both.
I mean, I gotta say, it makes sense that the goddess of the sea would be the goddess of chaos, because
no,
the sea
totally.
is fucking chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm with you there. Especially, like, it's chaotic nowadays, especially when they didn't have anything like
Right.
the technology we have now or any of the maps, or have traveled any of the world. It is totally understandable. But yeah, that is historic Tiamat. And D&D Tiamat has 5 heads, one of each of the chromatic dragons.
Right.
This is just a dragon. It's a green dragon.
Right. Okay.
The human dragon starts to claw the big one, like sinking its claws into the flesh, and it starts to take control and possess just like the ghouls.
Oh shit. Okay.
So that's how she's going to be reincarnated.
She has a type advantage.
Exactly. Georgia breaks free from the ghouls and rushes at the dragon, but the dragon hits her and sends her flying. The human form.
Okay.
She can feel the infection spreading as well. She hasn't had hair in a long time. Her legs no longer work.
Okay.
The infection is spreading. The dragon can now control her a bit. The dragon throws her the leather kit as a distraction. She's like, "You need this," and throws it away. And being
Okay.
so overcome with the fixation and the fear of losing her control, she dives after the kit.
Okay. I have a problem here.
Uh-huh.
I think it's not a good thing to make the object of your addiction your saving grace here.
She didn't know. Or what are you
What-
saying?
I'm saying, as an author, you do not want to put your character in a very low place and say the thing that's going to make it a little better is the addiction.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You
Um,
want to be like, you know what's going to be best in the situation is for her to throw the heroin away herself.
Hold on to that thought.
Okay. I might be getting ahead of shit here, but
No.
no. Okay.
So the dragon throws her leather kit as a distraction, and Georgia dives after it and finds everything still intact.
Okay.
Now Tiamat is reborn. That gave her the time that she needed. So then they're in her hotel room, by the way. Her motel
Yeah.
room.
How big is this dragon?
Big. Crashes through the ceiling.
Okay.
She's a dragon in full. She pulls Georgia down to finish her off, and Georgia has a flash of genius and realizes that her blood burns the dragon.
Right.
What's different about her?
She's a woman,
She's addicted to heroin.
but
The lance that St. George used was coated in an oil from an unknown flower.
right. Okay.
Poppy oil.
Yeah.
Heroin. Heroin is the key.
Well,
Embrace it.
I don't know enough about heroin for this, but how diluted is heroin in the blood?
Couldn't tell you. But
It's
apparently
gotta-
she's done enough of it that it's noticeable without killing her.
I feel like you have to do a shit ton of heroin for it to have that much. I don't know.
She's also been doping pretty regularly in the book. Like so far
That's-
that we've seen.
Right. That's
know.
true. Right. So, okay, her blood burns the thing. And so now she gets the idea to inject the heroin directly into the dragon.
She takes the baggie of heroin
Right.
and dumps it into the dragon's mouth.
How'd
Just
she get
directly onto the tongue. The dragon's pulling her in.
to eat her?
Yes.
Okay.
So she dumps the bag of heroin into Tiamat's mouth. Dragon goes into a rage, breathing fire, the whole
Okay.
shebang.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, is this Tiamat or the other dragon?
They're one and the same now. So
Oh.
the heroin distraction had given Tiamat enough time to reform. So she is now fully Tiamat, a full dragon.
Okay. Okay. I thought she just like scratched her to take control.
She was transferring her essence.
Okay, just absorbing
Yes.
into one thing. Okay,
Yes.
okay, I get it.
I wish I had more answers for you. That's not explained any further. So, like, does a piece of her exist in the ghouls? Does she transfer her entire essence? It's not explained. She can control more than one person at once.
Right.
We don't know. We don't know. They don't get into that. In her rage, Tiamat starts dissolving.
Okay,
The newly added flesh disappears. Skin, sinew, blood. She is left as a pile of bones.
okay, quick, bury him.
Georgia wakes up to the motel, Holiday Inn's owner's son, Wilbur.
Okay,
Now, he's shaking her, saying, "Oh God, please be alive."
okay,
So everyone else is dead. He had already called an ambulance by the time he's doing this to her, like waking her up.
She overdosed. She's by herself in her hotel room.
And his mother is taking... No, I wrote this wrong. He called an ambulance, and then he called his mother to explain what happened, and they're taking Georgia away to the hospital.
Okay.
Epilogue. Wilbur saw what happened, so he can relate, but they both know no one else will believe them.
Okay.
They tell the police that it was part of a gang war between the Shaolin Tong and the Inkheads.
Fuck off.
Wilbur's mother happens to own part of an airline, so she sets Georgia up as a flight attendant. Georgia travels the world. There's a part in there where she learns to deal with customers.
Okay. She just stabs him with heroin?
And it's just like this is written for any retail worker
Yeah.
reading this.
Is she going around the world burying the bones? I need to know that.
She is scattering small bits of Tiamat's bones everywhere she goes.
Oh, shit. So she ground them up and...
Kind of, yeah.
Gotcha.
Chipped them up. There's a part where she mentions how satisfying the crunch is when she uses a sledgehammer.
Okay.
I can appreciate that.
Sure.
Yeah. So the next generation and the next incarnation are going to be prepared. Because she wasn't told any of this, right? She wasn't told it was a reincarnation of Tiamat, that the dragon was trying to find the bones. Now she knows. And she knows it's going to happen again.
So she's got to write a new book.
Got to write a new book. Georgia drives by a deal in Alaska. So she's in Alaska, as a flight attendant. She's on her day off, and she drives by. Very obvious drug deal happens in front of her.
She's clean now, though.
Guy comes over, says, "Hey, what can I get you?"
Oh, no.
We've crack, meth, horse, whatever you need.
Why? Wait, okay.
Specifically list everything else.
Yeah, why?
And then call it horse.
If you're...
My headcanon is that it's horse because it's a mixture of heroin and ketamine is a horse tranquilizer.
That's the only thing.
That's my headcanon, but that's never elaborated on.
Just, there's a cop like 50 feet away having a coffee.
No, there are specifically no cops in this town. It's an oil town, and the oil company keeps things like drugs and prostitutes in business because this is nowhere in Alaska and men get jonesing.
Right. And you need your guys to be happy.
You need your guys to be happy. So there's a certain allotment of illegitimacy allowed. That's specifically in the book.
Okay, but they frown on heroin, so you got to call it horse.
You got to call it horse. Well, you got to be functional.
Yeah, okay.
The light turns green ahead of her and she drives away without buying.
Nice. Okay.
So she's clean.
She's clean. But the thing that saved her and everyone was heroin.
Yes.
That's a no-no. You can't write that.
You are correct. So any assumptions we had about it being in her head, they were all real. It was all actually real. Somebody else finally witnessed it.
Which is boring.
Very boring. Heroin saved the day. In the end, the actual part of what she did was she went to a diner, shot some people, drove to a town, got a hotel room, got up in the morning, got assaulted by the manager, left, bought some heroin, came back, bought some heroin, went to another gang's house, got ambushed, killed a bunch of people, drove back to her hotel, got ambushed, killed a bunch of people.
And blew up
a dragon. And then flew off into the sunset.
And this is all because she was abused when she was younger. Her father beat her with a broom.
Yes. Canonically, every event in this book takes place after she was abused as a child.
God. It makes it like it's so frustrating how much better that sounds than what this story ended up being.
Yes. So this book, I mean, I've said it many, many times tonight, but it's 133 pages. It is a very, very quick read.
Right.
Overall, if I wasn't reading for the show and taking notes and that kind of thing, probably could have finished it in maybe a couple hours, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
It's very easy read. It was very fast paced.
Yeah. It seemed like it. Things just kept happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Along.
There was very little like downtime.
Right.
Which was very, very good compared to, God damn, that bear book, which was all downtime.
I don't think I'll ever hear the end of it from you.
No, you won't. And I won't hear the end of it from our listeners.
Probably not.
I've already been yelled at for it.
Oh, no.
Several times.
I enjoyed that episode, though. I listened to it today.
The episode was great.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
So on the show, at the end of every episode, the person who read the book has to rate it. We have a rating system. It's a 5-point rating system. At the bottom, at number 1, we have toilet paper. And that means that the only value the book has is in its physical material.
It's trash.
It's garbage. Wipe your ass with it and move on. The second level is shampoo bottle. You're sitting around, you have literally nothing to do other than wait for something to happen. You might as well read it. You get something out of it, right? Third level is IKEA manual. Competently written, but not that exciting or interesting. The fourth level is Kindle Pick. Absolutely worth buying cheaply or in an electronic version. And then the final rating is hardcover. Instant classic, recommended to everybody.
You have to own it.
You have to own it.
You have to
It
own
has
it.
to be on your shelf. So, Extreme Heroin Addiction.
Yes.
You've read this book.
Mhm.
What's your rating for it?
Some can say I've read this book, including myself. I give this a solid IKEA manual.
Okay.
So that's a 3 out of 5 on our
Yes,
scale.
3 out of 5.
It was very, like I said, it's very, very quick read. The backstory was interesting. The whole St. George part, the way they brought it out and the way they revealed it little bit by little bit, it was interesting, but it was all through flashbacks. There was very little present day activity. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever read. It wasn't even close,
Right.
but it wasn't great.
No, yeah, just listening to you talk about it, it was started out strong.
Yes,
I was
very.
way into it.
Yeah.
But this was probably the most confusing one to me that we've done on the show.
I agree. The flashbacks, when you read them, it takes a bit to realize where you are.
Yeah. And, I mean, even things like her father showing up is very confusing.
Right. And that's never explained.
Right.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's if there is an actual knight who never shows up and fights, or if it's just a drug-induced hallucination,
Yeah.
or if it's a flashback same as the rest of them. It's not explained. I think this book could have been better if it was longer,
Right.
but it would have taken away from some of the other pros, like the fact that it was really easy to read really quick.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know that if you had expanded it and expounded on the lore, that it would have made for a better book. It would have made for a better story,
Yeah.
but I don't know if the book would have been better.
The weakest part to me was absolutely the dragon.
Yeah.
So not interesting.
She's
and makes
vague in what
no
she can do.
sense. Yeah.
She suffers from the classic villain trope of needing the powers that she has when she has them,
Yeah.
or when she needs them, I mean.
And just not killing the hero for reasons.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't finish her off. She claws her, gets stung, and then runs away, instead of clawing her, getting stung, and clawing her again.
Yeah. Or like she had the heroin. She knew it hurt her.
Right.
Get rid of it.
Well, she didn't know that the heroin hurt her. She knew the needle hurt her.
Oh, so she just ran away because of the needle?
That's what it seems.
That's silly.
And then, because she doesn't, as far as I know, it's not like she shows her the powder and then puts it in the needle and then starts shooting it up. It's just,
Okay.
here's the kit, and the dragon flips, and then she stabs her with the needle.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
confusing.
know. Again, that's another thing that's like, it's not explained.
Right.
It's something that could have been written a lot longer, but again, I think that would have taken and would have detracted from the actual briskness
Right.
of the story. It was. I'm gonna level. I paid $5.50 for this book. I am not disappointed in that,
Okay.
but I would not buy it again.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Good.
Which I think is what a solid 3 is.
Yeah. It's very, very, very middle of the road.
And that's exactly what this book was. It could have been longer. It could have been a lot better. It wasn't, but it wasn't the worst. It had a cohesive story for the most part.
Uh-huh.
The story was cohesive, if not coherent, and it played with a myth that I hadn't heard played with before.
Right. Yeah. Nobody talks about St. George and
Yeah.
the dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
But if you're listening to this and you enjoyed this episode, you can catch all of our episodes. They should be up on every podcatcher feed that you have,
Yes.
unless it has its own specific pay for criteria, which there are some that do.
yeah.
Those ones we're not paying for, but we do have subscriptions should be up on Google, YouTube, Spotify, Apple.
iTunes?
Yep,
Yeah.
we got our iTunes approval.
Okay.
So everything should be up everywhere. Catch us on Instagram and Twitter. We've adjusted. I took your advice and made the posts separately. So the Twitter posts are now actual posts instead of links to the
Yeah,
Instagram
yeah, yeah.
posts,
That
which I
was-
didn't
that's
realize
good.
is what it was doing.
If you guys enjoy the show, we have bonus episodes as well as bonus content, such as outtakes or, whatever we feel like doing over on our Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/apage2far, we have several tiers. The first tier is $3. You get monthly outtakes, which are essentially blooper reel of what we don't put in our episodes. And then the next tier is $5. And with that, you get a bonus episode every month. We'll do at least one bonus episode. In the future, we're thinking maybe multiple, but right now it's just one. And then the final tier is $10, our collector's edition.
Yes.
And on that tier, you are privy to insider information about the show, polls, any questions we may have to our patrons. You guys will be able to directly influence what our show does through that tier. So check it out.
And as always, we thank you for your support. Please don't support if you can't financially. Recommend us to our friends. Rate us on iTunes. That's one of the best ways.
Tell everyone about it if you like it.
You've heard all of this from every other content creator before.
Yes.
But it is so important.
Tell you what you don't hear. If you hate the show, tell everyone about it.
Yeah.
Because any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah. Tell them that you hate the show and show them the specific episode you hate. Make them download it.
Yes. Make
and
them
listen to it together.
And agree with, and shit all over it.
Email us at apage2far@gmail.com telling us how much you hate the show.
Yes. Brilliant.
We may, if it's good enough, we may read it on air.
Yeah, if you have legit criticisms, we'll read it out.
Oh no, for sure. If you have criticisms, let us know. But if your hate mail is a step above,
I mean, if it's entertaining,
and it is brutal, we may read it on air. That's entertaining stuff.
I absolutely want to do Patreon content about reading mean comments if we ever get any.
Yeah.
If we ever get any.
If we ever get any. Not saying when, we're saying if.
And stuff like that. So, yeah, send it to us. We're looking forward to it.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.